Santorini is a Greek island known the world over for beautiful blue waters, perfect beaches, and mountaintop vineyards. It's an island famous for its iconic villages built on top of cliffs, the buildings with the blue-domed roofs, and an incredible local food scene. 2 million visitors travel to Santorini every year, and cruise ships that stop at the island to let their patrons explore let off up to 25,000 people every single day into the island's ports. Recently having been ranked the best island in all of Europe by TripAdvisor.com, Santorini is one of the world's top vacation destinations, and it is definitely deserving of that title. However, many of the tourists that walk the streets of Santorini shopping for the perfect necklace or enjoying a fresh scoop of gelato don't realize that some of the island's history is darker than they could possibly imagine. Vampire graves, gruesome murders, even Nazi massacres. Santorini has it all. Join me as we explore this history today on the Paranormal Files. Ia, Santorini's most famous village, sits on the northwestern tip of the island and attracts the most tourists out of all of the island's towns. In Ia, you can walk down the island's famous whitewashed streets, shop from various local vendors, and enjoy a 5-star meal overlooking the Aegean Sea. However, there isn't any real history to be seen in this small village, as most of the buildings are fairly recent and bear no relation to the past inhabitants of the island. It's believed that the first people to call Santorini home arrived around 3600 BC. They were a very spiritual, mystic society who completely disappeared overnight, but we're going to cover that story in our next video. I wonder what this ancient civilization would think if they saw what their holy island looked like in this modern day. You will notice that a number of different rooftops are painted vibrant blue. While there is some debate on this subject, many folkloric experts and historians agree that painting the roof blue is meant to ward off evil. With the Greeks being an extremely superstitious people, it isn't hard to imagine someone painting their roof a certain color to ward off bad energy. On our first few days in Santorini, we relaxed, walked down to the ocean, attempted to get over our jet lag, and enjoyed ourselves. However, even though I tried to ignore it, the mystery of the islands across the sea seemed to call my name. To get my mind off of this intrigue, I went cliff jumping. We ate good food, drank good wine, and had a blast. Tessa and I even went out one night to a local bar, and I made some new Greek friends who got me a little too drunk. They can really hold their liquor over there. However, the night before we were due to visit the island rumored to hold a massive vampire graveyard, I awoke to strange noises at the door of our rental house. It was kind of odd though, as I did hear the door move and shake violently, and when I awoke, the window shade that I had closed before sleep had been opened up from the outside. I instantly rolled on my iPhone, and I think that you can tell how eerie the scene was just by watching this footage. I couldn't help but imagine that some sort of vampiric creature was scratching on our window, trying to get inside. At one point, it even looked like a vampire's shadow was watching us as we slept. The next morning we awoke and headed down to the port. It was time to stop by Theodosia, the island rumored to hold a massive vampire graveyard. We showed up at the docks that morning sunburnt and a little hungover, but at the same time I was extremely excited to get close to an island shrouded in such mystery. It was said that centuries ago, people rumored to be vampires were brought to Santorini on boats in order to be quarantined away from society. It was a widely held belief that vampires couldn't cross water, so Santorini was a perfect place for them to be held. Oftentimes, being brought to these islands as a Vrykolakas, or a vampire, was a death sentence, and there have been many skeletons unearthed on these islands in recent years that show signs that the skeleton unearthed was executed and buried as a vampire.
These are kind of chewables.
I'll just eat it. Okay.
Oh geez, you dropped it again.
I'll just be quiet.
Jeff, say something.
Name Opa?
I need some sunscreen. Our boat showed up and we left shore, heading towards our first stop, Theodosia. It is believed that on one of Santorini's small neighboring islands, either Thirassia or Kamini, a massive vampire graveyard exists where these individuals thought to be demons were executed and buried without trial. It's eerie to imagine being brought to these islands to be left to die, and it changes the views from beautiful to tragic. We docked in the bay of Thirassia, and our boat captain had a little history lesson for us. So I've got messy hair right now. So my hair's all messed up because we got up early. That started right when I started talking to you. So got the messy hair because we got up early to be here. We are on a boating voyage today, not paranormal related. We're going to be doing some investigating tonight, but right now we are docked on, well, not on the shore, but in the bay of Thirassia, the island opposite Santorini, still in this caldera zone. And this was the island known back in the day for being the vampire graveyard, where people would bring the vampires over by boat because they believed that they could not cross salt water. So they'd bring them over here and either have them killed here on the island or buried here in these weird unmarked grave plots. Now they've discovered vampire graves in various islands right around here, including Thirassia. So who knows what else is up there. Obviously we don't. That was really loud walkie-talkie too. Obviously we don't believe in vampires, but it's still interesting, sad, and cruel history that people don't really know about these, you know, famously popular tourist islands. Famously popular.
So, this island is named Thirassia. Thirassia, it's original Santorinian soil actually, which means that 2000 BC it used to connect with the main one as well, forming an island named Astrongili. Now, the first eruption of the island actually destroyed and created the calderas we have today. The main island is called Thira, which is by the king of the Sparta, the first habitant of the island, and Thirassia was named after his daughter. Now, Thira and Thirassia are similar in many stuff and huge difference in other ones. For example, Thirassia has around 300 people living, citizens, it's permanent. There are 3 cities, one in the south called Potamos, one in the north called Manolas, and in the middle one, Corfos. Now, north and south are abandoned at the moment, and Corfos has around only the houses you see at the top, and this small port. Now, just imagine, to get a little bit of vibe about the island, electricity arrived only 20 years ago here. So, there's no cars, no schools past elementary, no police, there's no streets bigger than that what you see, and this is not even a street, it's like steps that people used to ride with donkeys on the top. There was there was history of people believing vampires in Greece many thousand years before Christ, for example. They used to treat people as they had a curse from Zeus, where they have to be turned back to life and just suck life out of other people. So what they did is probably just spike the people down with big spikes on the graves, so they keep them still, because they couldn't kill them, they were supposed to be unkillable. So they would have them restrained on their graves and to protect themselves from coming out all the night and sucking people's life. But there are many versions. We have, for example, a Pusa, which is it was a cursed woman who had one iron leg and the other leg was a goat, and leg from a goat, and from above it was just a beautiful woman, and she was just drinking blood from men only, that she was, you know, trying to enchant first, and then they would suck. She was a follower of Hades, and she was sucking blood out of men. That was the oldest rumor of a vampire that I've heard, but it was like in Greek mythology also.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
Greek mythology is really interesting. It's one of my favorite subjects as well.
After hearing stories of the vampires, I couldn't help but imagine staring up at Thirassia and seeing vampires standing amongst the gnarled rocks, snarling at sailors as they arrive at the port. Even though vampires aren't real, the island of Thirassia is filled with a mysterious energy and the feeling that the land holds secrets that have yet to be discovered. To lighten up the mood a bit, after we left Thirassia, we stopped by a cave to do some cliff jumping, which led to this awe-inspiring moment.
That was an interesting sound.
When viewing Santorini from the sea, I couldn't help but notice the large amount of caves near the bottom of the island where the land meets the water. Looking at these caves, I noticed that some had doors, and after doing some research, I learned that a number of these caves were hand-carved by fishermen who at one point lived inside of these waterfront cave homes. When we got to the beach that my sister wanted to visit, I noticed that one of these caves was within swimming distance, so I strapped on a snorkel and swam over to check it out.
So I'm here off the shore of Santorini right now, and like our tour guide told us, these little houses or dwellings are found all throughout Santorini and these islands, and they were inhabited by fishermen or other people who worked in or near the sea. They were built inside of the mountains because it was easier to dig into the volcanic ash that formed these mountains and cliffs rather than attempt to transport things up to the top. So now, after the island has become a tourist destination and commercial fishing has obviously expanded in popularity, these fishermen's shacks and other coastal homes are left abandoned throughout the hills in this area. But I swam all the way up here to try just to see what's inside this one. There's some shelves. You can see right there, shelf and a shelf. It's kind of interesting. There's our boat. So here I am in the rock home. There's not much space here. You can see they probably would have used these as shelves. And then down here is this really...
The GoPro randomly decided to quit recording right here when I lowered it down inside of the hole in the ground. I'm not saying that this is paranormal, it was just weird timing because now I'll never know what was inside of this creepy hole.
Can't really see on the GoPro, but I'm gonna swim back out there now. Oh, look at these little things. Like coat racks, coat hangers.
All of a sudden I saw some sort of a bird on one of the shelves that looked like it was about to take flight and attack me, and I quickly jumped out of the window and hurt one of my toes in the process. However, while editing this video, I discovered a crystal clear man's voice in the footage, which really spooked me out. You can see in the footage that there are no boats or people swimming anywhere near the cave, as the water is so shallow that boats physically can't get near and the snorkeling is nearly impossible. The voice is really strange and sounds to me almost like it could be a fisherman yelling at me for being in his cave. Was it a voice or the waves hitting the shore? You be the judge.
Well, bird just scared the shit out of me. I jumped out and I f***ed my toes up. And now I gotta swim all the way back.
After our day of snorkeling and talking about vampires, we headed back to Ia in order to get ready for dinner. Upon arriving back at the port, I noticed that a number of different boats had crucifixes attached to the bow, or crosses sticking out from above the steering wheel. This is exactly what the sailors would have done back in the day when they arrived at the vampire quarantine island, and it gave me a weird feeling to see modern residents of the island unintentionally emulating such a chilling part of the island's past. To investigate the real Santorini, I realized that we had to leave the idyllic community of Ia where we were staying and needed to head out to the rural parts of the island where the real history of its people lives. These rural communities are typically areas where tourists don't go, even though they are oftentimes more authentic and fulfilling to visit than the more superficial tourist hotspots on these islands. Affluent, touristy areas, and the abandoned structures found strewn across the landscape of the rest of the island. Sitting at our rental cottage, I couldn't help but think about how all the tourists staying in this area probably had no idea that Santorini had once been home to the legends of vampires and that there was a notorious Nazi massacre that occurred right there on Santorini's soil. There's always so much more to history than what meets the eye. Walking through the streets of Ia, one notices a large number of crystal blue eyes watching you as you move shop to shop. These are known as the Mati, or the Greek evil eye. Even though their name may sound malevolent, these talismans aren't meant to draw in evil, but rather are meant to ward it off. We stopped into one of these shops to purchase an eye to bring with us that night during our investigation and asked the woman who was working if she could step outside and do a short interview on the meaning of the eyes. Incredibly, she turned out to be an archaeologist and was more than happy to inform us on why locals believe this evil eye to be so powerful.
Hello, welcome. My name is Mary and I'm working here as a sailor. I'm an archaeologist and I would like to inform you about the evil eye. Here in Greece, we use it as a protection from bad energy. It's a part of our culture. Here in Greece, we are really superstitious. We believe that this eye protects us from bad things. That's why we decorate this in front of our houses, because we believe that when a stranger thinks bad about us, this eye protects us from bad things.
So does it protect against just bad energy?
Against bad thoughts, bad energy, bad actions. That's why I have it also in my necklace over here. We decorate our houses, our body, everything.
So you wear one?
Yes.
Because you believe in it?
Exactly.
Its
yes.
power?
Yes.
And does it protect against?
We believe that actually this eye reflects the bad energy. That when a person sees us, this eye reflects that, how can I say it? The eye contact. It reflects the bad energy.
Does it protect against ghosts?
Exactly, yes, exactly.
And spirits?
Yes.
So, you think it works?
Yes, I think because I can support it.
Many of the vendors that we asked on Santorini were in agreement that many of the tourists who purchase the evil eye themed merchandise don't understand what it is. In modern-day Greece, the Mati has turned from a powerful spiritual symbol into a merchandising machine, which can be viewed as both a good and a bad thing. Now that we had our spiritual protection, it was time for Jeff and I to head out to the dark, brutal side of Santorini in search of the vampires and Nazis which haunt the island's night.
So, I can't read what this memorial says, obviously because I don't speak fluent Greek, I can't read it. Our phones are dying right now. But it's about midnight, we're here in Santorini, and we're about to expose the first facet of Greek history that I feel the world outside of Greece doesn't really know about. So, a lot of people don't know this, but Greece was absolutely ravished by the Nazi regime back during World War II. The Nazis occupied many of the islands here in the Cyclades. They occupied Athens. There was a full-on concentration camp in Athens. They wiped out a huge portion of the Jewish population here. And obviously, when an invading country invades another country, sometimes it's easy and they will forfeit and not cause more bloodshed. Here in Greece, the people were fighters, and especially on these islands like Santorini, the island that we're on right now. The Greek people that lived here fought back fiercely, and this entire occupation by the Germans of these Cycladic islands like Santorini, Crete, all these islands that surround this area ended in a number of battles between the resistance of Greek people who lived here and the Nazis. So right here behind us, this is the memorial here on Santorini that has been dedicated to the resistance, the forces that worked hard to make sure that the Nazis wouldn't gain a foothold here in Greece. They actively fought them. They worked on secret missions to get them killed and kicked off the islands. And right now I'm going to give you a little bit of history on a really interesting event that I found information about called the Raid on Santorini, which is what this monument is basically referencing because of how many lives were lost. A lot more Nazis, but after this raid there were executions, and it's a very sad story. But this little area, it's an offshoot down. Why don't you show the road over there? a very desolate road here on Santorini, somewhere where your average tourist definitely does not go. But yeah, Nazis in Greece. Let me just play that history for you right now.
In 1944, the Nazis had complete control of Santorini. Obviously, this was something that the Allied forces felt needed to be changed. So in an effort to upset the German order on Santorini, a group of English commandos under the command of Major Anders Lawson sailed from Turkey to Santorini with the express intent of eliminating the Nazi troops in their barracks in the city of Fira, capturing a German commanding officer, and destroying the radio tower so the Nazis could not call for help. This operation came to be known as Lawson's Bloodbath, and it was for good reason. At 0 hour, the attack was launched, and commandos descended upon the barracks, slaughtering 40 German troopers and taking 19 as prisoners. The commandos sent out to destroy the radio tower did manage to take it down using explosives, but killed 19 locals in the process. The team assigned to capture the German officer failed on their duty and allowed him to escape unscathed. In the days after the attack, German reinforcements surrounded the community of Vervolus, where the commandos had taken refuge before their attack, and executed 5 locals who had aided the rebels. While the operation was almost entirely successful on all fronts, they didn't manage to scare the Germans off, and in the coming months, over 4,000 additional Nazi troops were deployed to Santorini and its surrounding islands to make sure to scare off any future potential rebellions.
So now that you've heard about that raid, it's a very interesting story. We are here at the memorial. There are no bodies here, no one's buried here, so I don't believe that there would be any sort of a spiritual presence. The people who died in the executions, the members of the raiding party that lost their lives, a lot of them are buried here in the local cemetery. I'm going to totally slaughter this name, but we're here in Vorvulus. I don't speak Greek, and I would look up how to pronounce it, but we don't have Wi-Fi, data, anything. Jeff and I had to use an old school map to actually get here, but we're gonna head to the cemetery here in this small community and see if we can contact any of the people who died here resisting the Nazis. Interesting to note as well, the vampires of Santorini, Vampire Island. There's so many old texts that speak of these vampire people who were killed here on the island and buried. And since there's only a handful of cemeteries here on the island, I'm assuming that some of these vampires, well, not real vampires obviously, but people who are assumed to be these demonic, hateful spirits, they would be also buried in these cemeteries. So when we go to these 2 cemeteries that we're about to visit, we're going to try contact any of the people who fought off the Nazis, and on top of that, these let me look up the name one more time of the vampires. I keep using the word vampire because I don't know how to pronounce truly the Greek word for vampire, Vrikolikos, but that is the type of entity that was supposedly haunting these islands that were shipped here, left here, executed here in a sort of a witch trial type situation. They're called Vrikolikos. We're gonna head to these cemeteries now. It's about midnight. It's just Jeff and I out here in rural Greece. Everyone else is back chilling. They're exhausted from the day. But I thought this history was interesting. We had to share it with you guys. So, you ready for the cemeteries?
I am. Let's hit it.
Okay, here. How does this make you feel being out here thinking about Greece being involved in World War II to such a degree?
Well, I didn't really know quite about it actually, but they actually got slaughtered. I mean, they leveled villages, and but again, like this memorial shows, the Greek really fought back. They had a good resistance, but the Nazis really just kind of trampled Greece and all the islands actually through Athens over into these islands, like you said, the Socratic islands like Santorini and Crete and Mykonos and so forth. But yeah, it's just very interesting. I just didn't know the history of it.
Well, that's why we're here.
That's why we're here, man. All right.
Where?
Up there on the white.
Oh yeah, there's a white bird.
It's a white. I think it's a dove.
Is that a dove up there?
Can you zoom in?
Yeah, I think that is a dove up there, right above the memorial.
It's a dove.
That's weird.
Wow, a white dove.
White dove right above the memorial.
It's crazy, actually. That out of all this, I've never seen a dove here.
You've seen a dove on this island the whole time?
No, I mean, I never have seen a white dove anywhere here.
No.
Yet alone, hardly any birds actually.
Yeah, I haven't seen like any birds
I don't think
really.
I've even seen a bird.
And above the memorial,
While we're here,
right there, there's a dove sitting.
like one of the symbols of mourning and death and life and rebirth.
I mean, that's actually pretty.
It's weird. He's just a lone dove, just sitting there too.
It's like he's a guardian or something.
Yeah.
You know.
Well.
Okay.
To the cemeteries.
Let's do it.
It took us a while to find the cemetery, and at one point we were so lost that we had to stop into a convenience store and ask the owner for directions. Luckily, he pointed us in the right direction, and a few minutes later we arrived at the steps which led us up to the cemetery of Revulis.
Oh, where we're going, my man.
Is this it right here? To the right?
We could drive down here.
That's dope, dude. Damn. Old. Yeah, very old. So we're here now in Vorvelus, however you say it. Sorry, I'm slaughtering that name. We are here at the main cemetery in town. There is one more cemetery on the outskirts of town, but the real place where the people that lived here and died here were buried, especially during the German occupation, would have been right here in this area. Right behind us, we obviously have never been inside. We had to ask some locals at a rest station if they knew where the cemetery was. If we get directions, then we got directions. We'd ask more people because it's really hard to find stuff around here, but it's midnight now. We haven't stepped foot into this area, but we're gonna go in and check it out and do a little investigating. I'm gonna run an EMF meter right now, and I've got a REM pod that we're gonna use when we go inside. So let's go check it out. This is like a really unique looking cemetery. Here, we can blast this light so you pick it up better.
There you go. Okay.
Look at this. You can see all the urns and stuff in there. You want to see if you can get that on camera, get a shot of that?
These pictures of people there. Yeah.
So this is interesting. This is something you don't see in American cemeteries ever. So with mausoleums, usually they have a door, but they're either sealed shut by molting and, you know, applying hot metals to seal the door shut, or they're locked tight, and other times there are no doors, and the mausoleums are really not meant to be accessed by people. That's why a lot of them go into decay. But here in Greece, as you'll see, there's more of a connection between life and death in the religion and spirituality of these people. So they have doors where you can just open up these crypts, or what would you call this, mausoleum? Tomb?
I suppose, yeah,
A
mausoleum,
tomb.
yeah.
Like, look at all these.
But interestingly enough, I mean, these though are not the bodies. These look like, are they allowed to cremate?
Yeah.
They must.
Yeah, those
right?
are definitely
So it's-
cremated.
I guess it's a mini mausoleum or family. Then this one's different. It says more privacy.
Oh, what's interesting is that there's a candle burning in there. So someone has come today. Yeah, you can kind of get it, but
Yeah, you can see the light. Yeah,
no, but look at, yeah, left, right there. Yeah, I'll zoom in. You can see that's a flame.
oh, there it is, a flame. Yeah.
Someone has come today to light
Interesting. Yeah.
that.
There's a much closer connection between life and death here. This is kind of crazy too. It's a screen door and the window's open as if they've allowed the people inside to have some fresh air.
There's another door.
Another thing you don't see.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I'm gonna walk up here. A lot of fresh flowers. Look at this.
This is just basically a row of these. Wow. This is steep, man. Oh, this is like the end.
So this is just another entrance? There's a path.
Doesn't look like. It's gonna be kind of. I guess it is.
Could be an old potter's field.
Well,
Whoa. Okay,
here's a
go back
shot.
down. I wonder why these are open right here.
Yeah, I don't know. They're actually been excavated. I assume they've moved these bodies, you know, for sure. Because these were burial vaults.
The one thing that I couldn't find online about Santorini and these dealings with the Nazis and the slaughters that happened here, I couldn't find any information on where these Nazi soldiers that were killed were buried. I don't know if they were shipped back to Germany or if they were buried somewhere in unmarked graves here on the island, but that's just another mystery in my mind because I couldn't find any sort of writing about where those people went. So let's walk around. Let's see if there's any graves in here from the 40s.
You hear those cats?
Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah, it looks like just some water.
In some cemeteries, I know that in a lot of Jewish tradition, they have fountains because you're supposed to wash your hands when you leave.
Oh.
Very recent. Yeah, all these are extremely recent. Wow. Why are they all so recent? Oh, 48. 44? There we go. This guy was probably killed.
April 29th of 44.
Yeah, it actually did happen in April.
Did it?
Yeah.
It happened
now
in
that
April.
April. Yeah. So this is probably one of the people.
Look at there's a marker here.
Mm-hmm.
That this might be.
29.
This might.
Look at here's another guy. 1944, April. April 29th.
This has got to be it right here.
April 29th.
Oh, that's for sure.
That's probably when the executions happened.
Let's get the names on here.
Mm-hmm. I can't read them, sadly.
Okay, so what's interesting?
I wonder what these say.
This Eaton 24 and this is 36. I wonder if there's some sort of age. 22.
So look at, I'll analyze this later on and see what this says right here, because this is like some sort of a...
So that would make sense.
While editing this video, I used an iPhone application which scans text in different languages and analyzes it before converting it into English. When I did this, the app recognized the text on the grave and translated the word German, which confirmed my belief that this grave belonged to one of the young men executed by the Nazis in April 1944. If you know what the rest of this inscription says, please comment your translation below because I'm dying to hear.
Because, you know,
both died on the same day. So these are probably some of the people that helped with the raid on Santorini, or had locals that had some involvement that were killed by the Nazis. It's crazy.
Look at he's got. For sure. Look at all those in here.
Yeah. Look at, you want to walk in here and look?
Wow. Okay. My gosh. Wow. I almost.
Dude, there's energy in this room.
Wow.
Do you feel that?
Yeah.
It's like real powerful
I was supposed
energy.
to be in here. I actually felt a little fearful.
I just feel like surrounded by like,
Wow.
dude, you can feel that
Oh
in
man.
here.
Yeah, I'm like.
I don't know if it's,
I'm like vibrating.
yeah, it's like a thick. Whoa.
First of all, we need to pay our respects
Yes.
to everyone here. trying to be disrespectful in any way, but
We're trying to preserve your memory.
yeah, oh my goodness. Yeah. Wow. I don't know. It's hot. I don't know if I can see.
It's like a vibration.
I don't know if you can see my.
You can
It
really
is.
feel.
I'm like, it's heavy.
Yeah, it's like you can, on your skin, it's like stifling.
Wow, and they're all looking.
They're all staring
Right.
at you.
They're just, everybody's looking. Like this guy I'm drawn to for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure why. Wow.
Here's another 1944.
This is amazing.
Another 44 down here.
44. Yes.
Did the light just flicker?
Yeah, it did.
Nothing picking up on me.
Wow, I think it's like, do you know how when you have sinuses that are crackling, like your sinuses are breaking apart, like you had a cold? That's what's happening inside my head and my sinuses.
I can feel that pressure right here. I can feel. I don't know why it would be so hot in here. Oh, look at here's another 1944. Hand carved.
Yeah.
Wow.
Age 32.
That's hard to believe. It's crazy to see also. One other thing you don't see in America in modern burials is this sort of hand engraved intention that someone sat down to preserve their loved one's memory.
Wow. I think.
I get like a headache in here, like
Yeah.
instantly. I keep feeling like I'm hearing people like walking around out there.
These flags. I don't think I'm not really feeling at all like I'm creeped out. It's more like
it's just powerful in
yeah,
here.
there's like, I think it's just like everybody staring at us. Like,
Where should I set this?
I put it on the center.
Right. To everyone online, I want to make sure to also say that that there's no disrespect meant here. We usually don't believe cemeteries are haunted, but seeing as this room just feels really powerful, we're just going to try ask and see if there's any sort of energy in here, because obviously for decades, half a century plus, people have been coming in here, putting their loved ones to rest and praying daily for some of these people. Is there anybody here in this room that has stuck around, that has a message for a loved one? Can you tell us about your life, or come forward and touch this red light? By the way, people online, most Greek people speak English. It's taught in schools, and it's kind of a necessity because of the amount of tourism here on these islands. So I'm assuming that some of these people did know English back in the day, so we didn't really consider it necessary to learn Greek to say these phrases.
Very difficult.
Is there anybody here with us right now? Could you give us a sign that you're here?
You know what it feels like to me for some reason? It feels like people are being like silent. Like we don't speak. It's like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's my feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like they're all just like present,
Yeah.
but like no one say anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm feeling.
There is a definite
Oh.
energy in here.
It is heavy.
Very heavy.
Sweating, body aches. Yeah, very heavy. Sweating, body aches. Yeah, very heavy. Sweating, body aches.
I'm actually had goosebumps.
Goosebumps?
Yeah. When I first came in here, I couldn't get them on camera. They're gone now. I mean, it may just be from this room. You know, being probably, it's just kind of crazy. And you know, when you look at different people like this, gentleman, you know, staring, it's just like he's looking right down at you. And they've got the, which is interesting, they've got the Greek Orthodox, and then they've got Jesus Christ. And then, I don't know.
I don't know who that is.
What that would be, but they're together. I don't know if that's a reason for that.
Is there anybody in this room with us?
Is that some voices?
That was a tap on the door.
No, I know it was a tap on the door, but then it seemed like there were some voices.
Yeah. Could you do that again? If that was you, thank you. This won't harm you. All you need to do is come like this. What? Oh, touch that rose.
I cut the back of my leg.
Oh, that freaked me out too. Could you just tell us your name?
I just kind of feel, again, the same thing. I kind of feel like there's like...
I feel like there's...
They're all here.
Yeah,
it's like heavy.
It feels like there's like stuff walking around, but it doesn't want to interact. Like there's people outside in that. I feel energy really hard in that area. In here, it's extremely thick. Some of the thickest I've ever felt.
You know, just think of these. I mean, obviously, people are here, but think if their energies are in this space and they're here together every second of every minute of every day, from their death forward. It's like they're a community, you know? It's like, where do you add people here, right? This you can't. This is actually closed.
Even just a small fragment of your energy, if that sticks around. There's so many.
Well, even, okay, so obviously this is cremation. It'd be interesting to see how far back that goes because, you know, growing up Catholic, as I did, cremation was, you couldn't be cremated until, I don't know the year, but not that long ago, you know? So it's interesting to see that cremation is here, for me, for a mixture of, obviously in this room are Christian, Greek Orthodox, you know, and I don't know the separation of the two, but it's just
crazy.
I kind of feel like it's a community here, you know?
Yeah, we'll turn the REM pod off.
Yeah.
So since we don't have too much time here, we're going to step back out into the main part of the cemetery, but it should be noted that this room just feels heavy. Something you can't put onto film, but I can't remember the last time something felt like this.
Maybe you'll pick something up.
It's like all of a sudden my legs hurt. It's like a really powerful energy that makes you tired.
Okay, well.
Okay, next time. Thank you guys so much. I wish you only the best to rest in peace, and God bless you. Say it again.
Oh, this one is turned over. Oh, yeah. I mean, would a person see or no? Did somebody turn over?
Who knows?
What do you think?
I won't touch it.
No? No. Look at the name.
Can we go back outside?
Yeah. Ready?
Yep.
Look close. Kitty. Oh, jeez. And he's gone. The cat of the night. Where? Oh. Wow. Hi, kitty. Wow. He's,
So we're gonna wrap this up real quick because we got one more cemetery to go to. I'm gonna use the REM pod again. I always like to say that it's interesting just to see that when we do get the REM responses, something is happening, because it was just sitting there for 20 minutes and it didn't do anything. To anybody here in this cemetery, do you have anything to say to your family members? Or to anybody who may have wronged you in life? Can you come over and touch this red light? Do you guys remember what happened in 1944? Do you remember who and what country entered Santorini? Well, I doubt we're gonna get anything out here.
it doesn't seem like it.
It feels very peaceful.
Yeah.
And at rest.
That's what I think is the feel of this place.
Yeah.
Or they're very, very private, you know, like no one says anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whichever that means. I don't know what that means, but to me, that's what I'm feeling.
Want to head to our last cemetery? Try to talk to the vampires?
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you to everyone who's buried here. Thank you. God bless you. And I hope you're at rest. Okay, you gotta wash your hands before we leave.
That's right.
Oh, that was orange water. The way the light hit it, it looks orange from here.
Next.
Yep, here you go.
Okay, there's a big light behind you.
Okay, so like I said, this cemetery was more for the people that were victims of the Nazis, terrible war crimes that they committed here, the slaughters. And just a real quick side note, this community that we're in right now saw one of the grisliest murders in all of Santorini's history just this decade, when a chef in town went absolutely insane. He decapitated his girlfriend, fiance's dog, and then after an altercation with her, decapitated her, killed her, cut her head off, and he actually walked through these streets with her head in his hands, screaming at people, shaking the head around. Then when the police showed up, he tried to cut another police officer's head off of the police officer, and he stole a car and went on a driving rampage out of town, struck 2 female doctors that were riding motorcycles, didn't kill either of them, but he was finally apprehended and now he's in a mental institution. It's kind of interesting to learn about the darker side of such a popular tourist destination. You talk to even some of these guides on the island and they don't know that, you know,
it was known as the Vampire Isle back in the day and stuff like that. But it's interesting history that deserves to be shared. So once again, thank you to everyone here in the cemetery. And now we're going to head to the Cemetery of the Vampires to finish out the night. After our investigation of the cemetery in Vervulis, we headed off to our final stop of the night, the dark cemetery of Ia, and things were about to get very creepy. Okay, Jeff, so
Yes.
where are we now?
We're at the other cemetery where we're thinking maybe some of the supposedly vampires were buried. At the EI cemetery, it's actually the EI cemetery, right?
Ia.
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 Cemetery. Spelled O-I-A, pronounced Ia. But this is it right here. And it's 1:30. So,
A little creepy.
a little creepy. Well, you know, we're in frickin' Santorini, man. Who knows who's out here? I have no idea.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
You know, but it's a creepy cemetery. So let's go do it.
We're looking for the Virkolakis.
Okay, whatever it is. There it is.
Okay,
Let's head in, buddy.
open up the door. Open the gate.
Okay, my man.
It's got a typical creepy cemetery gate look to it.
Is that about the typical scary vampire casket?
That's a very vampire. I feel like we're entering
I'm
like
sorry, that's-
the crypt of Dracula.
We're gonna walk it. Okay, here we go.
Oh,
That's right.
yeah. So one thing that I wanted to point out that I just don't know the meaning of, I'm going to have to research and put it in the video later, is, Jeff, you want to kill the light on the camera real quick? Look at all these flashing candles.
Yeah.
They're all mostly red, and they have green too, but I've never
Interesting.
seen flashing candles, but they've been in both cemeteries, so I don't know if that's just something that they have on the island that they have access to, or if it's some sort of tradition, maybe to ward off evil.
They're over there. We can't quite see them over there. They're all over.
It's kind of interesting how they all just flash and flicker.
Yeah.
So you can turn the light back on now. And in the last cemetery, we were looking to contact some of the victims of the German occupation, obviously a very tragic period of history here in Greece, which we'll be covering more of as we move further inland. But here on Santorini and on all of the Cycladic islands, there is a prevalent belief in the anti-evil eye. I don't know the official term for this thing, but we have right here one of these anti-evil eyes. So these tokens or charms supposedly ward off negative spirits and negative energy. So we heard from a number of different people. Some people didn't want to be on camera because they don't like talking about superstitious things because they feel that it makes them more powerful against themselves. But they said that this wards off the bad spirits. So we're going to keep this out. And obviously we don't really believe that these people who were quarantined here on Santorini as Virkolakis, vampires, we don't really think that they were vampires, but I'm assuming that since this is the closest cemetery to the major ports here on Santorini, in Ia, and a lot of these burials did happen on the island, and you know, sometimes they would be in consecrated ground, sometimes they wouldn't be, unmarked burials. I don't know, there's potter's fields in all cemeteries like this. So I'm assuming that there are some people here that were killed like this, or that were suspected by people in their town to be a vampire. So we've never been here, but we're just going to walk around. I'm going to hold out the evil eye, and we're going to see if we can capture anything on camera. I'm also going to take out, I've got the EMF meter here, see if we can pick up any signals, and let's check it out. This one's definitely got a very different vibe.
It's kind of like, is it getting older back here or no?
Seems like it. You can see all these big crosses start to appear.
Yeah. Oh man. Thank you. It's still creepy out here.
I know. Oh, that gate's open, dude.
Yeah. It is open.
That's creepy because you
Are
know
we
they shut
alone?
them. Is there anybody in here with us? It's just locked shut. I'm sure that with the tourists and everything, they closed them. So someone had to have come here tonight. Look at these. Totally open. And this too.
What?
This just looks like. This looks like a vampire cemetery. I'm not gonna lie to you. Not to be disrespectful to these people. It's a beautiful cemetery, but it has like a gothic
man.
island. Look at that guy. It's a captain or something.
Where?
Yeah, that monument.
Oh, wow.
Just look at this, dude. This is just creepy.
It's like, what is back here? This is like a latch. Dude. This is an actual latch that has to come up.
So if they came in, why wouldn't they close it again? Unless they're still in here.
Well, we shall find out.
Look at this. This looks like the Haunted Mansion. I've never seen something like this on a cemetery either.
It's cool.
You know? Yeah, this one's just, it's got a different feeling to it. Another captain of some sort.
They like their pictures, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They like to have their picture.
Look at this, a wreath. Someone a little worn. A little box of some sort back there. Look at this one. This is always crazy to me because someone had to come like today to light these candles.
Oh, weird.
There's a number of candles that are lit and they stay lit. So people obviously come here all the time to pay respects. Like, look at some of these. They don't have names, just 90.
Well, these are
90. What does that mean?
maybe spinal sometimes. Is that broken? Oh. This is creepy as hell in here.
Yeah.
Put that down there. What the heck?
It's got a weird smell in here.
Yeah. Look at that dude up there.
I know.
That does have a creepy smell.
So, this door was just open. It's kind of like, I thought it was another room similar to the one that we were in at the last cemetery. But you can see these, like, I'm assuming these are burial vaults.
Smells.
It smells like dill pickle chips. But these burial vaults are just open. Do you think there's like a casket in there?
That's where that's open.
I'll leave them be. Look at all those boxes in there.
Gosh, what is that?
They're just, it's like the same boxes, but they're just stored in there.
But they're like locked, or some of them are locked. Tape shut. Some are tape shut. They're numbered. What? Oh, yeah.
a sudden, dude, literally right after we opened that door, there's like a ton of noises.
Yeah.
The gate just creaked. Is there someone here with us? In the cemetery?
Anybody here? Come and touch this meter. We're not being disrespectful.
I usually don't get creeped out by cemeteries, but this one was different. It was like being in a live horror film, and we were the unknowing victims, walking around in the dark, waiting for the killer to strike.
It was. Is that you in the wind that just kind of kicked up? A lot more noises.
Remember? Who was it? It was the woman outside of our room was telling us the first day that we were here that you can hear the voices of the dead in the wind. That's a superstition on Santorini. Do you remember that? When she was talking about the castle?
Oh, about the castle, yeah.
They said the big myth was that you can hear the voices of the dead on the wind.
Right, exactly.
And all of a sudden it's gotten windy.
You mean Aida?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right, she was saying that. Because she was in the castle. She had her shop at the castle, and she could hear a lot of voices.
Yeah, another washing station.
I kind of don't like walking in this cemetery on the feeling that what's behind me. You know, like there was a noise, a bang.
Yeah.
Hear that?
I heard it from in, like in there.
See, when you touch these doors over here, wherever those were at back over there, on that big building, it sounded like a noise from inside there as well. Maybe we'll have that on camera.
But you can see shadows too. Is there somebody here with us?
Oh, gee, dude.
What? What?
Oh, never mind. Oh, damn.
Look in there. That's so eerie. Dude, it's scary.
Dude, I could not. Oh, my God. Dude. I know.
It's so many people.
You
buried.
can't really see it here, dude.
No.
With the light off completely. There's a lot in there, though. Okay.
So in this one, you can see there's a ton of lights. There's an altar over there with lit candles. And all of these walls, yeah, you can't see it with this mesh. Let me see if I can turn the focus. But all these walls, they all have, I'd say like 30 burials, 30 memorials. And the light, just how this light is casting this glow. There's just so many candles in there. It's eerie.
The wall of people up there.
I know. It goes back there too. Now that other building didn't have like a negative energy, but this one just feels
That's what I'm feeling, so.
like anxiety just looking at this. I think it's just the eerie lighting, but
I don't know.
the cemetery's just got a different vibe altogether. Even like that, you see the cup.
I mean, they have brooms in here. I don't get it.
People must come and
What?
die to these places frequently. So we're gonna walk now over to another part of the cemetery, turn the lights off for a little bit, and investigate. This building specifically, though, has a strange aura about it. It's almost like some of these people are unhappy with how they're buried or something. I get that feel.
It's definitely not a cohesive. It's almost like there's a mixture of religions here or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like people aren't.
There's like tapping on that window. Did you hear that?
I'm hearing
There's like literally like
sounds, but I'm not sure what's happening.
See?
It's this glass. I don't care. Well, no, it's this one. Look at it again. That's a candle.
Mm-hmm. It's a lit candle.
Oh,
I heard footsteps over there.
I think it was. What was that?
I don't know. All these glass things weren't moving before. You know? We're fine.
It's a little freaky this late, you know. Yeah. Everybody out at 2 in the morning. It's like,
Oh, there's a big loud tap. Those big loud taps keep coming from those buildings we feel that from.
just
Were any of you that are buried here killed for being a vampire? A Virkolacus? Virkolicus?
I don't know if it's just getting late or what for me, but I kind of feel like a little sick here. You know, I don't know if it's just again late or I don't feel good here compared to the other place. I don't like what's behind me, whatever that is.
Were any of you killed unfairly or buried unfairly? And do you have anything to say? I just heard a voice. All the dogs just started barking too.
Yeah, I just don't really like it.
You hear that?
There's something here too.
That was loud. They came from over there. Like a footstep. Is there somebody or something here in this cemetery with us? We invite you to come. We're not afraid of you.
You know, I don't know that you should really say that here to me. I don't know if I don't feel like that's a great thing to say. Like, there's almost something I know, but it's like there's something that doesn't feel like nice here to me. I would actually say for all the cemeteries that I've been in with you, this one to me seems like the most unsettled. I don't know why, but most cemeteries to me seem more peaceful.
I wasn't expecting this feeling.
You know, do you feel that way?
Definitely.
I mean, I don't feel like it's just an uneasy feeling, even though we're around all these traffic and stuff.
It's just this parcel of land seems to have some sort of very powerful, sentient, malevolent energy that's here, you know?
Yeah.
It's just eerie. Like, it's a weird feeling. It's totally in contrast to the other cemetery where it felt like just there.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have that feeling here.
No.
But it's like, I'm just really chilly and like...
I actually feel... Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No.
No, I was just going to say, just like the old vampire movies, I kind of feel like there's like... and obviously, I don't believe that there's a vampire, but I kind of feel like there could be one here.
This looks like a vampire
Like this
cemetery.
to me now, it does.
It really does.
It does look like a vampire.
People are going to make fun of us,
Well,
probably.
I know they will.
But it's like, it's so true. You've got like all these candles that you don't see
You're
in
right.
America. All the flowers and these tall monuments with the crosses, like the Gothic look.
But there's so many shadows and stuff that...
Really dark.
You know what I mean?
And noises.
And like high stones and low stones, and like they could be like... I could see someone like casting a shadow like quickly across something. You know?
Once again, I'm inviting you to come talk to me.
There's a bang in there, but I don't, you know. I mean, this is really, honestly, this is like exactly a vampire cemetery.
Yeah.
I mean,
And like all these doors like
yeah,
this.
I know.
It's such a weird feeling to think it could just open. Why don't you turn the light back
Yeah,
on?
I'm gonna turn the light on here because I don't think you get the effect here. Quickly.
When the light's off, it just looks like you're in like a scene from, you know, Stoker's Dracula.
I think you gotta go here. Wait, let me take a shot like here. Go. Like just, I probably do have to go a little. It's hard to see, but this like scene, like this scene here with this tree and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like.
And when this light is off, like we just
Yeah.
had it, it's just
It's hard to
black.
Yeah,
The
it's hard to
shadows.
get this across.
Can you speak to us and let us know what they did to you when they suspected you or thought you were a vampire? Or vircoculas? Or a vircolicus? Did they treat you unfairly? I just feel like all my energy is drained. I'll put the evil eye down. We have no protection now.
Oh, I don't like that idea. Oops, jeez. Sorry.
It's so quiet.
Yeah, you can't really get this on camera of the scope of this, like the look of that whole landscape there, all the different levels. You can't see it as well as I wished, but
Oh,
okay.
you want to get out of here?
Yeah.
Okay. Right there for a second, it got really warm around me.
So I was the exact opposite.
Really?
Yeah. I was just thinking, I was going to say, I felt really cold. I think I'm just getting a bad vibe from this place.
Who knows? Maybe there was a bad person buried here. Okay, well, from here in Santorini, it's the end of the night. It's about 2:30 a.m. We got to leave here. We're going to. Oh, hell? Dude, this just broke.
Just broke off the string. Oh my god.
Dude,
Look at that thing. It looks like
see
it's
that?
frayed.
Dude, it literally just broke. Look at how I'm holding it.
It's actually like frayed, dude.
Yeah.
Like, look at that.
What timing? What bizarre timing, dude. And this is meant to be like strong too, you know? Like look at like
That is bizarre.
like this rope wouldn't just break.
Let me see it.
It just snapped. Look at there's the evil eye and it's face down, facing away from us.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, dude, what if it was trying to break it?
You know, I just feel like I kind of want to go.
Yeah.
I think we should just. Do you want to do something?
Look at
Do you want to
chipped it.
Do you want to do something outside the gate? Like
Sure.
get out of here? Do you want to
Yeah,
tell
sure.
some?
Yeah, to anybody who's in the cemetery, we respect you. We are not here to exploit you. We just wanted to communicate with you and to contact you and hear out your message. Whether you were executed as a vampire, you were just an everyday person who lived, worked, and died here on the island, or I don't know, you were something other than that, of which there are a lot of varieties. But thank you for coming out and talking to us. But please do not follow us. You must stay here if you are here in the first place.
And don't follow me. I mean, I think you said us, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And don't follow him either.
Yeah.
Or follow him.
No, do not follow me. Stay here. I do feel like there's something.
Like
Yeah,
little tap
there's another
right here.
Dude, that was like right here on the stuff here, I think.
It's like the movement and stuff follows us.
Yeah,
Damn,
that's why I think we gotta get out of the gate.
Okay.
Okay.
All these plates move like.
Okay, let's go and then.
Usually we don't really handle cemeteries, but these were two very interesting cemeteries. Both ended up having really powerful energy in our opinion. The first one was more of an omnipresent.
There's that sound again, dude.
Yeah, it's following us all of
Okay.
a sudden. An omnipresent energy. And this cemetery, although there's no real, negative history to it, and it's more than likely just regular people that are buried here, great people in life, it has a very strange vibe to it. And this would be where some of these vampires would have been buried back in the day. So you never know. It's kind of odd that it actually broke the evil eye.
Oh, that is weird.
Like literally, you can see right there.
That.
It just snapped off of the thing right at the end when we were about to leave. Like it wanted to attach itself to us or something. But yeah, we're leaving Santorini tomorrow. I wanted this video to shed some light on the crazy history here on the island, and I hope you enjoyed it. We got some really, really good videos coming up next, and some just insane history that is hard for even myself to believe at times. But that's where we're headed next. Thank you for watching. If you don't subscribe to the channel already, please subscribe. It helps us so much and allows us to continue doing this, so you can watch these videos for free. Follow us on Instagram if you don't already, and if you want to support the show, we do have merch for sale, and we have some new stuff that has just dropped, so go to that store and check it out. It all goes back into producing the show, and we thank you guys so much. Let me get Jeff's wrap-up thoughts.
Okay, well, Santorini is our first stop in Greece. It's a beautiful island. First of all, the people are really warm. I think the history from like the vampire story that you'll have in this tape to like the evil eye of blue eye, by the way. Our people, all these people are dark brown eyes, so it's actually the evil eye is blue. I don't know if you said that or not, but
Like us.
like you'd be very powerful in their culture. Like they don't want to look in your eyes. But I thought all that stuff is kind of interesting, and then the stuff you can talk about, like the animals on the island, and there's so much history here, obviously, back in mythology. There's some stories of that as well that you can get into, but great island. People nice. This is creepy for me, this one at the end. But yeah, for me, it's been fun being with you.
History, like that of the Nazi massacre and vampire graves, is being forgotten. As I always say to you guys at home, go out in your local communities and really research the history. Write into your local newspapers and tell the editors about forgotten massacres, or make videos of your own and post them online. We cannot forget the sins of yesterday, because they always grow into the tragedies of today. Either way, our time on Santorini was nothing compared to what we had coming in Crete.
Hello? Okay, go.
Tune in next weekend to see that incredibly creepy episode of The Paranormal Files. Thanks for watching, and stay spooky.
Hello?